Hello and welcome to Snappy Summaries, the channel that gives you the gist of the best books in minutes. In this video, we'll be summarizing Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. This book is all about how we make decisions and the different processes that go into it. So, let's dive in. In the chapter titled, Two Systems, Kahneman introduces us to the two distinct systems of thinking that our brains use, and how they can impact our decision-making process. The first system, System 1, is the intuitive and automatic system that we use for quick decisions and actions. It operates effortlessly and unconsciously, relying on past experiences and patterns to guide our behavior. For example, when we see a red traffic light, our System 1 immediately tells us to stop. On the other hand, System 2 is the slower and more deliberate system of thinking that we use for more complex tasks that require attention and effort. It is the system that we use when we solve a math problem, or when we analyze a difficult situation. Now, let's look at some examples of how these two systems of thinking can impact our decision-making. One example that Kahneman uses in the book is the bat and ball problem. The problem goes like this. A bat and a ball cost $1.10 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Many people will instinctively answer 10 cents, but this answer is incorrect. If the ball cost 10 cents, then the bat would cost $1.10, making the total cost $1.20. The correct answer is that the ball costs 5 cents, and the bat costs $1.05. This is an example of how our System 1 thinking can lead us astray, as we often rely on quick, intuitive answers without taking the time to fully analyze the situation. In the next chapter, Heuristics and Biases, Kahneman explores how our thinking can be influenced by mental shortcuts, or heuristics, and the biases that can arise as a result. One example of a heuristic that Kahneman discusses is the availability heuristic. This heuristic is the tendency to judge the likelihood of an event based on how easily it comes to mind. For example, if we hear about a plane crash in the news, we may become afraid of flying, even though flying is statistically much safer than driving. This is because the availability of the news story makes the event seem more likely to occur. Kahneman also explores confirmation bias, which is the tendency to look for information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs and ignore information that contradicts them. This can lead to distorted thinking and poor decision-making. For example, if we believe that a certain political party is corrupt, we may only seek out news stories that confirm this belief and ignore any evidence to the contrary. By being aware of these tendencies, we can work to overcome them and make more rational, informed decisions. In chapter, Overconfident, Kahneman explores the tendency for people to be overconfident in their judgments and decisions. One example of overconfidence that Kahneman discusses is the planning fallacy. This is the tendency to underestimate the amount of time, effort, or resources required to complete a task. For example, many construction projects end up taking much longer and costing much more than originally estimated. Another example of overconfidence is the illusion of control. This is the belief that we have more control over outcomes than we actually do. For example, a gambler may believe that their luck will improve if they wear a certain article of clothing or use a certain ritual before playing. Finally, Kahneman explores the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is the tendency for people with low abilities or knowledge in a certain area to overestimate their abilities. This can lead to poor decision-making and a lack of willingness to learn from others. In the next chapter, Choices, Kahneman explores the process of decision-making and the factors that influence our choices. Kahneman explores the impact of framing on decision-making. This refers to the way in which a problem or decision is presented, and how this can influence our perception of the options available. For example, people may be more likely to choose a product advertised as 90% fat-free, rather than one advertised as 10% fat. Another factor that influences our choices is the concept of the availability heuristic. This refers to our tendency to base decisions on information that is easily accessible or memorable, rather than seeking out more objective data. For example, after watching news reports of several high-profile shark attacks, a person becomes afraid of swimming in the ocean, despite the fact that the probability of being attacked by a shark is actually quite low. By being aware of these biases and heuristics, we can work to make more informed and rational decisions. In the last chapter, Two Selves, Kahneman explores the concept of two selves, the experiencing self and the remembering self. The experiencing self is the part of us that lives in the present moment and is responsible for our immediate feelings and emotions. The remembering self, on the other hand, is the part of us that creates our memories and experiences. Kahneman suggests that our experiencing selves and our remembering selves can often be at odds with each other. For example, our experiencing self may be enjoying a delicious meal, while our remembering self is already planning to come back to the restaurant because of the great memories it will create. One key concept discussed in this chapter is the peak-end rule. This rule suggests that people tend to judge their experiences based on the peak moment of intensity and the end result, rather than the overall experience. For example, people may rate a painful medical procedure as less unpleasant if the end result is positive. Kahneman also discusses the concept of duration neglect, which suggests that people often place less weight on the length of an experience than on its intensity. For example, people may rate a shorter but more intense vacation as more enjoyable than a longer but less exciting one. The book provides an insightful look into how we think and make decisions, and how we can improve our decision-making skills. So, that was a quick summary of Thinking, Fast and Slow, by Daniel Kahneman. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe to Snappy Summaries for more book summaries like this one. Thanks for watching.